Hello and welcome back to Feelings. I am your host, Desvel Mandel, also known as Des. And in today's episode, I brought on one of my best friends, my spiritual sister, the one who was there with me in quarantine while I started my healing journey, Jessie Yarborough. Jessie truly was there for me for most of my healing journey so far. One, because we were stuck in the house together, and two, she was also on her own healing journey, so we got to discuss and go over things that we were learning about ourselves, and we could apply what the other person was learning about themselves to ourselves, so it was really good. This episode is simply just an open discussion about everything we've learned about already. Make sure you subscribe to Feelings on Spotify and YouTube to come back for more. Enjoy! Wow, what a process it takes for us to do anything.
I know.
We could start now.
Oh, how do you start?
You stay close to the mic.
Oh, God. And even now I'm still doing it. I'm still going back.
That's good. Yeah. Sorry, I know being a podcaster is complicated.
It is.
I'm also not like mastered yet, you know.
Yeah, you are.
I'm getting there.
All right.
But how was your day?
It was good. I went to school.
Are you wearing your Invisalign?
Yeah.
Oh my God, cool.
Is it weird?
No, I like it. No. I want Invisalign.
It hurts if you want to get it.
Well, thank you for coming on my podcast.
You're welcome.
Okay, wait. Oh my God. I just totally forgot the intro. Hey, welcome to Feelings. Today, my guest is Jessie Yarborough.
Wow.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen.
Jessie's on a podcast.
Yes. You've done a podcast before.
Yeah, I have.
But none like this.
Well, it was on Zoom, so it wasn't as intimidating.
Oh, and are you intimidated?
Yeah, because you know how I feel about cameras.
She's not a camera person. I'm like, the camera's on, smile.
I know.
Very
I'm
that.
like,
We're
gotta
opposite.
go.
Yeah.
You're the perfect person, though.
Yes. That's what we always say. Jessie is a certain type of person, and I'm the other half of that type of person. If we were one person, we would be the perfect person.
The perfect woman.
The perfect woman.
But
no man would stand a chance.
I still don't.
Hey. But Jessie, out of everyone in the world, I think Jessie knows the most about my healing journey.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was there in live time when I come out of my room crying like, look what I just discovered about myself, or like, I need help with this.
Yeah.
So me and Jessie used to live together. We lived in Encino in this house with our friends, JC and Paul.
Shout out.
Woodley. That kid is you.
Check him out.
Yeah, so we used to live all together, and we all lived together when the pandemic hit. So a year ago now.
A year ago. Wow.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah.
I was like going through my journal, and I was just like,
oh I did that too. It's weird.
Jessie was there with me when quarantine hit, when everything was crazy and no one knew what to do with their lives. And within quarantine, me and Jessie both decided, do you think it was a decision that we both were like, we're going to figure out our traumas? Or did it just slowly start happening and we bounced off each other?
I think it was kind of that. I feel like we always were like that. We always would talk about healing, and we always kind of were into the self-care, self-work. And then I went to Allie 2 weeks before the pandemic hit.
Yes. Oh, because you went inside her office.
I went inside her office.
Yeah.
And then that kind of started me on like the journaling. Like she was giving me prompts. And then once all of that started happening, I remember I was sending you the prompts to post.
Okay, wait. Let's stop there really quick. So I checked my journal before we did this because I'm like, where did it begin? You know, me trying to figure out where my stuff started. And literally on April 12th or something, when it first started, I literally say, I don't know what to do with my life, you know, all the normal, you know, stuff. And then I said, me and Jessie actually had a really good talk about discovering ourselves and wanting to figure out our problems, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jessie gave me prompts. And that was the day I started all my prompts.
Wow.
Yeah. So you definitely jump started with me.
That's crazy. And well, I was thinking that too, because it was like, I was always like, you need to journal. And you were always like, you need to meditate.
Yeah.
And we would like tell
Perfect
each other.
girl.
Yeah, literally. But then like I started meditating.
And I started
probably
journaling.
a year ago, like next week, every day. And then you started journaling. So it was kind of like we always bounced off, because I'd be like, this works for me. And then you'd be like, I'll try it. And you'd be like, wow, that was great.
And I was like, no, you should try this.
Yeah.
I actually went through and I was like, the things we did within our healing journey in 2020, like we journal prompts, meditations. We also gave each other, well, honestly, Jessie gave me book recommendations. If anyone needs book recommendations, go DM Jessie, because she, especially spirituality books.
Yeah, that's the only books I read. So if you want like a fantasy book, it's not going to happen. But if you want a self-care book,
holla.
Yeah. What up?
No, she just finds them. The first book you made me read actually is now my favorite book, was The Alchemist.
Yes.
And then, that book, that's my favorite book. I read it like every a couple times a year.
Yeah, you read it a lot.
Yeah.
I read it once. I was like, that was good.
I don't know why. I just attached to it. Maybe because it was my first real spiritual book.
Yeah.
That. Because my first real, I guess, self-development book was You're a Badass. And I read that years ago.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time since.
That's a good starting book. And you but it's for the average person, not to be offensive, but like.
Not to be offensive.
But like, if you read it, it's like anyone can take it in.
Yeah.
You know, like.
That's more like just being a better self.
It's not really spiritual. Because it's like, it kind of covers any kind of person, which is cool. And it does like talk about all different things. But The Alchemist is more like, you have to read it.
It's more woo-woo.
Yeah. And you have to read it and understand it
Yeah.
on your own term. Like, I think everyone interprets it different.
I agree with that. That's why I read it so many times a year when I hit different parts of my life, because it's different to me every single time I read it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But then she gave me, oh my God, why can't I think of it?
Universe Has Your Back.
Yes, Universe Has Your Back. Oh my God.
That changed me,
Gabby.
That's such a good one.
That book was everything. So if you're into books, honestly, read The Universe Has Your Back. I was crying within the first chapter. That was like the double jump start to my healing journey.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that book, you read a chapter and then it's like, do this meditation.
Yeah.
It's like such intense meditations. Like, I mean, I also had never meditated really. So I was like talking to my inner child and like releasing judgment from my father. Shout out.
Shout out, Dad. Anyway.
Another podcast.
I can't. Okay, anyways, go on.
But yeah, stuff like that I never explored and like meditated on. I ignored it. So that's like diving in real quick. And it's simplified. Like, I never thought of any of the stuff spiritually with you. I mean, I don't even know how to explain it. It just.
And there's also journal prompts. Like, she makes you journal that. Oh, no, because remember, I don't think
we
it
did that.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to journal. She's just like, ask yourself this. But we turned it into journaling.
Yeah, which like I think really jump started us.
Yeah. Damn, we really dissected that book.
Because then we got on the same page. Like, we were reading the same thing, talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And then we would like go to our rooms, like literally every day in quarantine was like, we had our own schedules until like 4 p.m. and probably even like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Because you ate dinner later. I ate dinner like 5 because I'm a grandma.
It's weird. We didn't see each other all day, but we lived in the same house.
If we were in the backyard, we'd be on the separate sides of the backyard. Like, you were on the lawn chairs over here and I was on the couch thing over here.
The visual to me is like crazy.
Yeah, I know, same. And like, but we didn't even talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do a puzzle like midday, like so quarantine.
Midday puzzle. And then we would crawl out of our rooms slowly and be like, this is what I learned today.
Literally. Sometimes with wine, sometimes not.
Yeah.
But it was like every night.
Yeah. It was a lot too. Like, you're literally my spiritual buddy. Like, I'm so happy that like you were there with me.
Same.
Because like it helped a lot. Because I feel like in the past, I think we talked about this before. Yeah. In the past, I've always tried to do this, what we're doing.
Yeah.
With our powers combined,
yeah.
It just like blew up.
And our like kind of again like to like our different thinking. Like, I grew up so Christian, and so like all of the people I've ever talked spiritual with is like God, Jesus, and this was like my first time really diving into like knowing there's more than that. I think I really dove into it in quarantine, and then you made it so normal when I would be like, oh yeah, like the universe, and you're like, yeah, the universe, and I'm like, oh yeah, God too, and you're like, yeah, and God. I'm like, oh, okay.
You're like, oh, it's safe here. Yeah. Yes, safe place.
Because if you said universe in church, they're like, you mean Jesus Christ?
I'd be like, kind of.
I think my spirit guide actually, but
yeah, I think like my spirit guide. The moon talks to me, honestly. Oh, I did a meditation. Oh, I think I told you. I did a meditation where I met my spirit guide. Have you done it yet?
No, you sent it to me. Yeah. I'm doing it tomorrow. I like haven't been able to this week.
It was so good. I was like, Jessie needs to do this.
I did one with a Gabby thing one time. She had like a meditation manifestation thing. And I did it like that.
Cute. I love that.
Do you know, was your spirit guide someone you knew?
It was my dad.
Yeah, mine's my mom.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Cute.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so clearly my dad. At first, when I did it, I was like, am I forcing it to be my dad?
No.
But I wasn't. He literally was like standing there. Hi, Bruno. Bruno's in the house. Over quarantine, Bruno, Jessie's puppy, he and I actually fell in love.
Really did.
Remember, like in quarantine, I'm like, this is the best thing that's come out of quarantine. It was our friendship.
And our healing.
In our healing. Oh, yeah.
Mostly Bruno. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. So another thing that me and Jessie did to start our healing journey was we actually started listening to Jay Shetty's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I actually found out the date or in my journal because it says, today I listened to Jay Shetty for the first time.
Also, we didn't listen to that together.
Yes.
We separately because of Ashley Graham. Remember?
Oh, yes. Because she posted her Jay Shetty interview.
Yeah. And we both were like,
yeah.
oh my, I was like, I listened to this Jay Shetty guy. And you're like, did you learn about him from Ashley Graham? So even when we weren't connected and talking
I just
about
got
it,
chills.
we literally were on the same page.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Because, I remember being like, I just listened to this one with the guy from Big Bang Theory or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that one was so good.
I remember I went on a walk and I listened to that.
Ooh, that was like my daily thing. Was watching. Yeah. I would walk in podcasts.
Yeah, so Jay Shetty really like helped us a lot. Another podcast that we both listened to was Enlightened Empath.
Ugh, shout out.
Oh my God. Jessie actually had a reading from Denise from there. I won't tell your story because I know it's yours, but it's just so cool still.
It's like a fangirly thing because we like listened to our podcast. It wasn't just like getting a reading. It was like, I literally was like, I love your podcast, by the way.
She was like, oh, that's
She was
nice.
like, thank you so much.
Oh my God. I could hear her voice in my head.
She has a different, if you don't listen to this, you don't care, but she has a different voice in real life. She has like a like how Paul has like a YouTube voice.
Yeah.
And so does JC.
Shade.
But no, I just never knew that was like a thing. Like
like
she literally has like a podcast, but her voice is so different. Like just talking, I was like, Denise, is that you?
Is this really you? Do I have a podcast voice?
No, you're like always like
I'm always on
performing. Yeah.
So then Jessie was telling me about Ali Ninfo, who is an intuitive healer. Mm-hmm. And after I had my first real breakthrough, if you will, about my dad, remember with the balloon and all that stuff, that was May 1st. And then on May 2nd was my reading. Yeah, with Ali. Wow. Yeah, so that week was it's weird because it was heavy, but it was good. Yeah. Like a good heavy week. I learned a lot that week.
And that's how I started. Ali's like a therapist who tells you what's wrong with you. Instead of being like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with this week, Ali's like, okay, so you're insecure about your finances, you're insecure about this, and this, you're ignoring this, and you're like, oh. Because she literally just like taps into your soul.
Yeah. I forgot what she told me. I had to write a couple letters to different people, and then I had to burn the letter. That was fun. Yeah. I remember because you had to do that too. Mm-hmm. And I remember one day I was in the kitchen looking in the backyard. You're just staring at the fire pit. Mm-hmm. And like, we don't touch the fire pit. It's usually Paul.
It's Paul, yeah.
And I'm just like, what is she doing? Yeah, we had to burn our letters, which that's a good exercise. If someone is holding something over you,
yeah,
right?
Subconsciously or consciously.
Yeah, like if someone did you wrong or something in the past, write a letter of everything you want to say to them.
And victimize yourself. That was the big thing, Ali, because I like never want to play victim, but she was like, no, victimize yourself. Say like, you ruined my life. Like you're allowed to like say as much as.
I forgot about that.
Because I would still like in my letters protect the person I was writing to. Like they're not going to see it. You're burning it.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, it's okay that you did that. But it's like, no, like really say what you want to say because that's the only way you let it go.
Yeah. And it works.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It works. Like it definitely like took burden off of me a little bit, you know, because it's like I just got it out. So that's why I always push journaling, because it's just like saying things that's on your mind just gets it out of your brain and makes room for the good stuff.
It's true.
How long have you been journaling?
Probably like consistently for 3 or 4 years. But I only really started journaling when I moved to LA. So like 7 years. I didn't in high school or anything.
Okay. Yeah. You started then you just consistently now.
Yeah. And then the past 4 years because I was just going through it and I just like didn't know how else to process it and then started journaling.
Yeah. I feel like my podcast, every episode, I'm like journaling, meditation.
I'm the same though. Like everyone I talk to, I feel like all my friends have like, yours probably too, like I've started journaling because I'm always like, just journal.
Yeah. But I think journaling, meditation, and like having a spiritual buddy, that's the key.
Get you one, get you a desk.
Oh my God. I think that's also what like helped me start feelings is because we were in it together. And I think of all those years I kept trying to like break through. And it's like just because I didn't understand it. So I feel like I wanted to share with everyone. If I say my experience, maybe people won't be scared. Yeah. Because it's what is it called? When you're scared to do it. What's the word?
Scared?
No, when you're like
intimidated.
Yeah. It's an intimidating thing.
It's not fun either.
Oh yeah, no.
Like I always like, everyone's like, because in quarantine people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm honestly like on a self-healing journey. People are like, good for you. Yeah. Like no one wants to do that. And when you talk to a lot of the people you surround yourself with, they don't understand it.
Yeah.
They don't connect with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say whenever I say it to people, they're just like, oh, okay. Like they think I'm weird. I think they don't understand it, which is fine because they don't.
Yeah.
It's not for them to understand, but
we've had that conversation. And you kind of, I think the more you get into it, the more you like don't care if people don't care.
Oh yeah, I super don't care anymore.
Yeah, I'm not even like offended when I don't get along with people anymore, which I used to like really get sad about. But now if I'm like, oh, we're just not connected. We're not supposed to, like, it's fine.
Yeah, like you weren't meant for me. This was in our journey together. Yeah. It's okay.
And even as you like grow in your spirituality, you kind of see that too, like who you're not supposed to be friends with, and you're just like, whew, okay.
You're like, oh, it was fun. That's why you just have to like be like, whatever journey you had with that friend, if you are letting someone go, thank that friendship because it did teach you things no matter what. Yeah,
and it's never. I'm never like mad at the person.
Oh no.
But I think there gets to a point you like have a conversation with people and you're like, oh, we don't vibe. We don't talk about things. Like there's nothing to talk about between us.
That is one thing I feel like we talked about where it's just when we super were in our healing journey. Okay, just to be clear, we're still super in our healing journey. Like it doesn't stop. But I think when it first started, it was hard for us to have conversations with people who
other than each other.
Yeah. I've learned now to organize like fun in spirituality, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Spirituality is fun to me. So.
Yeah, literally it's all I want to do.
Yeah, but talking to people about dumb drama or something, it's just like, I don't care. Yeah. Like I really don't care. It's just like getting like the right content fed to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And protecting yourself. Like, you don't have to tell people. Even like when I do like my like getting reads or going to people like Allie, like I don't tell every friend I have like, oh, I went to an intuitive healer because they're gonna be like, you're insane. Like and not me. I'm like, tell me more. and I think I'm at the point if I told someone like that's crazy, that's not real, I'd be like, okay. Like when you're okay, there's like so much to jump around because we went through so much. But like I just think about the beginning of our like healing. You're so lost and so overwhelmed because we were like diving into every aspect of our life constantly, and we were reading constantly and journaling constantly. That's what you tell people about, and then you get that denial. And when it's like so fresh and you're not like, it's kind of like you like grow and you like become yourself, and then when you're like your new self and you're fully like developed, like you're like a teenager becoming an adult, you're like, like I'm now my adult self, I know myself. But in like the beginning of your healing, when you tell someone, they're like, that's not real, that's weird. Like, and then you like are hurt because you're still like working through that like having to prove. I don't know if this makes any sense.
No, it is. And it's like, it's also scary. So when someone does tell you it's weird or something, it's just like, oh, so I'm not supposed to be doing this. That's one thing.
Yeah. The validation thing, that was like my biggest thing I had to work through. And that's what I was getting back was like, I was weird, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess.
Never mind.
Yeah. I think in it, over time, you learn you don't need validation.
Yeah,
and
that's
I think
true.
That's a big thing. Like, I think at first I did want it. Like, the first time I did my read with Allie, and she, like, talked to my mom, I wanted to, like, call my siblings who they've never gone to a medium in their life. And, like, I think they want to believe it. They're like, my sister was like, yeah, that's great. Like, that's cool. Like, that's really great. But, you know, I wanted a different response just for my own, like, because I was looking for validation.
Yeah. How's your validation now?
I don't really need it. I think I can find it in myself, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Like I definitely am struggling. I think that's also healing. Like once you get through that step of like really processing everything, when you get to the next step, you catch yourself. Yeah. So now I see when I'm seeking validation. Like I'm in barbering school now and my ego is so big. I am used to being at like kind of the top of my game, really good at my job. And this is a different side of my job, but it's also not. It's like men's hair. I do men's hair. So when I like am not good at something, ask my teacher, I'm like, is this good? And he's like, yeah, I mean, it's your first cut. Like it's good for a first cut. I'm
and
like,
you're like, oh.
I know, I hurt.
It's like,
but I'm like,
you're like, I'm not amazing. I'm not perfect. Like what?
Yeah. And I like had to like learn ego and validation, but I catch it now and I'm like, okay, you don't have to be perfect at this. You don't need validation.
I'm the same. If I'm not completely perfect at something, I feel like a failure.
I like want to quit a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember whenever we got into ego, remember when we discovered that
the sensation of the ego.
Oh God. Yeah. I hated that. It was like a good month
was that
of
it?
Just ego.
Yeah. We also overdid it constantly. Like we would like read a book about ego and then we'd listen to a podcast about ego and then just dissect it for 2 weeks. Like we didn't take a break. Yeah. So I think that was also, we're just learning so much constantly. It's kind of hard to like really remember because we just overwhelmed ourselves for 2 months straight.
Fun.
Yeah.
So much fun.
But I think it was the first time I saw the ego. Like when someone's like, oh, he has a big ego.
I never understood that.
No, I had no idea what that meant.
Yeah. But now I guess, that's true. It's like now I know how to detect if it's someone's ego ego or if it's their truth.
Yeah,
you know?
like your soul. When we learned that our egos within ourselves were what hurts you and what tells you you're not worthy and what tells you everything that puts you back, because like your ego doesn't want you to win, but it's all within yourself, and your ego doesn't have to be big, it can be small. And I think I never knew that. Like I didn't even know. I thought if you didn't have a big ego, like you didn't have an ego. Like I didn't know.
I realized what my ego was. I realized that was the little version of me inside crying for attention, because my ego, I didn't know at the time, but like my ego is huge. I had a bad ego. You know, because it's just like, why not me, it was very that is the little girl in me crying for attention, because I don't know, maybe I didn't get enough attention growing up or something, you know. So
everyone's ego is different. Because mine's like the opposite. Mine's like, you have to stay small, you can't be who you are. Because I would get like insecure, not to be like I was working so much, but I was like successful at a young age. Like my ego was like, you're not worth this. Like you're not supposed to make this much money at 21. You're not supposed to work with these people at this age. You're not good enough. You're not.
It's weird because mine's
enough.
that too.
Oh yeah.
You know, mine's like that, but it's also like, why can't it be me?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it could be me. Why can't it be me? I'm not good enough. I must not be good enough. You know, stuff like that. Your
ego's like nice and mean.
Gemini.
Yeah. And mine's just like mean.
The nice though is not, it's not nice though.
Yeah. It's like manipulative.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's,
yeah.
That part of me is just manipulative. Ugh. I feel like we've been talking a lot and it's all over the place. So I'm sorry guys if it's crazy.
This is just how our talk. This would be at the dining room table.
Yeah.
On our old house. This is how we would talk every night. And we were like, we should start a podcast.
Yeah. Literally.
And now Des started one because she should have one. I shouldn't. So
it would be too much of a there'd be so much scheduling conflicts, I feel like.
Yeah, and Des would do all the work.
Oh.
That's why that's why I literally was like, you do it, because like I would be like, I don't care, and you'd be like, this means a lot to me. I'd be like, okay.
But it's actually perfect now because you could just come on anytime, you know.
This is a 24-part series.
Oh my gosh, guys, honestly, we're gonna have to do different episodes and like break everything up. Like have an ego episode, have an inner child episode. I don't know.
Inner child would be a good one.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest thing you've learned from your healing journey so far?
That is a loaded question.
I know there's a lot, so maybe your favorite thing, I don't know, the top thing.
I mean, I think emotion, which is a very broad thing, but like I don't know how to like cry. I don't feel context. I have a lot of problems. Like I'm in radiating pain at all times. I can't eat anything. I throw everything up. This is a lot of information, but it just is what it is.
You do a lot to try to fix it and it's still like the same.
I spend so much money and I'm like super healthy. I work out all the time. I go to acupuncture and the chiropractor and therapy. Like I've been doing everything I could possibly do for like 7 years. Like I've been so on top of it and I just like am not getting better. Within my trauma healing, I learned about like PTSD and I learned all these things that like are normal. Like the way I act and the way I react is like a PTSD. It's like a symptom of it. It's how people react to trauma in some cases. My case of like how I react to trauma is I just internalize it and something in my body happens. So like everything in my body is just years and years of rejecting my emotion. Undoing that with that intention, like learning about emotion and like not ignoring my feelings. This is like simple, but like I was with my nephews and my niece this past weekend, and when I left I like started crying. Aww. And I didn't want to cry. And my sister was like, it's okay to cry. And I was like, you're right. Like, it is okay to cry. Like, I'm just going to cry. And Kai was like, why are you sad? And I was like, I just don't want to leave you. And he's like, I don't want you to leave either. Oh my God, I'm going to cry. But I was like, oh, like, I don't know why. Like, he needs to see emotion. I don't want him to see me cry. But like, he got to see, I love him so much. I'm sad to leave him. And now he like knows that. So that's like so small. But like, that's something I would have just not cried before.
I'm actually really proud of you.
Thank you. You know, I don't cry.
Jessie doesn't cry.
Even my therapist sometimes like, you don't even feel happy. She's like, you feel nothing.
Oh my God.
I know.
Do you think if you don't feel, then you won't get hurt?
Yeah. I went through, so much stuff for so long that like feeling good, you would just assume something bad was going to happen anyways. Yeah. So I would just never like be happy. And I'd always be like pushing for more, working for more, looking for more. There was just so many layers to it that I like have now discovered and I see. But yeah, it was just hard for me to feel anything. So I was just like, just keep going. I was always survival mode constantly.
Yes.
Like fight or flight. Always. Like, it wasn't like not fight, not flight, just neutral. It was like I was either fighting or flighting.
Yeah.
When you're in constant things happening, that's how you live. Like, I like, even like, it's a lot to unpack, but like my mom having cancer. My mom had cancer for 10 years. Went to doctor's appointments every other month. So every other month I was waiting to see what the doctor said. Did her cancer, like, did she go up a stage? Did she go down? Is she okay? Is she not?
So you never knew like what was coming
For 10 years.
Aww.
And like in general, you never know what's coming, but I had a constant like,
but that's a big thing to not know
starting at age 13. And you have a disease that in retrospect is connected to death, and you're just like, are you okay? Like, what's happening? And that's like
something
just,
you can't control.
No. And it's something that's not even the biggest thing. There was so much more in my family. So it's like that constant survival mode, scared. Didn't want to feel sad because I didn't want my mom to be upset that she was hurting me because she was trying to protect me. There's just, it's so many layers.
I think the thing I learned the most in my healing journey so far, I actually don't know the answer to this.
It's a lot.
Yeah, because there's a lot of great things I've learned.
Yeah.
I guess it goes like along with feeling your feelings. Feeling your feelings is the true key to figure out what's wrong with you. Not what's wrong with you, but like what's
holding you back.
What's holding you back from living your life.
Yeah.
And it won't go away.
No.
From two girls who've been healing for a whole year, like hardcore healing.
It's just layers and layers and layers.
Yeah.
But it, like I said, it's layers that you see. Like, you're like, oh, yes, this is something I deal with. But like, now I know how to deal with it. Now I know how to move forward with it. And now I know how to catch myself and what triggers it. And you can stay away from what triggers it. And
actually, that's a big thing I learned, to figure out my triggers. Triggers are crazy. That's a whole nother podcast.
And boundaries.
Oh, boundaries is a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, there's so many things.
There's so much. But I think we should end this one here because we gave them a lot and not really
a lot of context.
Yeah. Jessie's going to be back again and we'll go through subjects.
Send us what subjects you want. Yeah. It's like Enlightened Empaths.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I love you. Make sure you follow @FeelingsFeelings on Instagram and Spotify and YouTube. And thank you for listening. Bye.
Love you. Bye. That's Perfect. What it is.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Feelings. I hope your feelings are feeling something right now. Make sure you follow @FeelingsFeelings on Instagram to join the Feelings community. I just want to remind you, you are magical, you are beautiful, and I love you. Now go drink a glass of water and tell yourself you love you in the mirror.